Okay, so this is going to be sort of a game style setup in the sense that it will be a series of loaded questions. Like I told you, of course, you have the space to pass or answer any question. In fairness of it being a game, V will also be able to ask me a question at the end of her round. She can ask me any question or just repeat a question that I've asked her. And she'll also have like a share of her choice at the end, and she has chosen a sound bath. And I encourage everyone who's watching to also jot down these questions and maybe ask them to yourself at a later date, or do this with your friends. And okay, ready to go. So the first question, I'm going to jump right in. Are you ready? Okay. The first question: what is one thing that could make you happy, but you refuse to do it because you're afraid of what others would think?
That's a hard one, because I don't really deprive myself of things that make me happy. Move to France or like South Africa, and just drop off the face of the earth. I think that's something that I wouldn't mind doing. I think that's something that I will eventually do. I'm definitely eventually going to move overseas, kind of like Nina Simone or James Baldwin. But as of now, I know that I have a lot of work to do in my community and here. So I haven't really done that.
Okay, ready for question 2?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the last time you tried to please someone who made you angry?
Someone that tried to make me angry.
Or that has made you angry.
Okay, so ask the question in a different way.
So, have you ever tried to please someone who maybe that was the last thing on your I'm so sorry. That was really distracting. Okay. So when was the last time that you tried to please someone who definitely was not thinking about pleasing you?
All the time. I'm a giver by nature. And so I really find it's really something that I have had to learn to not to do. I had to learn not to give of myself too easily. The last time I think specifically that I did that was probably recently for a gig that I didn't really want to do. Or somebody asked me to sing on a track, basically to give, and I didn't really want to. It was just something I was doing. And I realized that that's poor boundary setting, especially for an empathic person that just wants to give. And I feel like the model has been modeled to me is that you have to give. You have to give up yourself. You have to give up your gifts. So I guess that's a way in that giving of doing things for free. Mm-hmm. I think that in that way I have given away my power in that way.
Do you think you're gonna keep doing that?
Girl, no. You will use yourself up that way.
Yeah.
You know, you'll use yourself up that way. So no.
Okay. Next question. What do you find yourself justifying to people, even when no justification is needed?
So I would say sometimes I feel like I've gotten really good at this too. So these questions would have been like a year ago, it would have been totally different answers. But I used to need validations for every little thing. Like the picture I would post, how I would do my hair, the songs, everything I would need validation. And what I've realized is validation is not only fleeting, it's not real. If it's not coming from pure love and honesty and vulnerability, which we're talking about today, it's not even valid. It's just fleeting. It's fake. And so the only real validation that you'll ever get is your own validation, you know. So I really don't look, I don't really look to people to validate things for me. Maybe last year I would have told you something differently, but I've really done the work where I don't really care.
I feel that's a feat. Okay. What part of your sexuality do you repress the most?
Well, I would say that because I'm still working through this, because of sexual abuse and trauma, I've always suppressed myself sexually, always. The fact that I'm bisexual.
Hello? Hello? I just joined the meeting.
Go ahead.
I've always suppressed myself sexually, I would say. But as I heal that aspect of myself, I find different ways to express myself sexually. And I think the first step in that is seeing yourself as a sexual being and seeing that there's nothing wrong with it. I have some projects in the works around celebrating my sexuality and celebrating seeing myself as a sexual being. And I'll just keep down the wrap.
These are the projects you have in the works now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've noticed a lot of Black women that have experienced sexual rape and molestation, and like sexual trauma. I was expressing with a friend, like I've never even, like, lingerie wasn't a thing till very recently. Like I probably need to own that for myself, not for another person. So yeah, I got some things in the works because that's part of the healing we as Black women need to do as well. Seeing ourselves as sexual beings and not over sexualizing ourselves.
What is your favorite strategy for avoiding conflict or difficult people? And maybe not favorite, maybe most used.
Yeah, I hate to say like used to, but passive aggressive, I've always dealt with like being passive aggressive. That's just like an empath, I grew up in church thing where I didn't feel like I could speak up for myself in spaces or like tell my side of the truth. And I would even say quite recently, someone kind of pushed a boundary. And I always feel like, Mars and Cancer, I always feel like I have to either dumb down what I have to say or like not, say it in a really nice way. But I'm learning that if it's not a resounding yes, it's probably a no. And I was listening to this podcast that was talking about how, what if you made a decision that every yes in your life was going to be a resounding yes, and a solid yes, And if it was a maybe, it's probably a no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes with maturity, that comes with knowing yourself, that comes with self-awareness. And that's a lifelong journey. So
You're doing great.
mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the worst way someone's ever abandoned you?
I think the worst type of abandonment is what you experience as a child, because you don't understand your feelings at that time and you might not be able to articulate it. And a lot of things happened to me when I was younger where I needed a parent, basically. And my mother at the time, or father, or uncle, or auntie, or whatever, brother, sister, they didn't really know how to be there for me because they were dealing with their own like traumas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I believe I've forgiven them. But I think for anybody, not just me, but that for anybody, the most intense form of abandonment is like as a child,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Mm-hmm.
So would your answer be the same if I asked what is the worst way you've ever abandoned yourself?
No, it would be totally different. I feel like you abandon yourself every time you say yes to something that you know is a no. Like the no's got to be strong as the yeses. And there's been a lot of times when it comes to gigs, when it comes to partners, when it comes to everything, I have said yes when I meant no, just because I didn't want to hurt their feelings, or I didn't want to come off combative, or you know. And with me, like, even if I'm gonna do some dumb shit now, it's like I stand behind it 10 times. You know, like now it's just like, yeah, that was dumb as fuck, but I'm human. So like I stand behind my yeses, I stand behind my no's. But that comes with time when you kind of were taught. That comes with time. Because when you were kind of taught that you were made to serve, everything that people do or everything that people ask you, you're kind of like, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? You know? And it's like now I stand in my yeses 10 toes and I stand in my nose 10 toes, you know, even if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. Feel you. What do you love most about yourself?
One, I love that I don't judge people. I love the fact that when I meet somebody, I meet them and I listen to them, and I catch myself quickly if I'm judging or being jealous. I've always done that because I've always had a strong sense of self. I wasn't always confident in what I knew about myself, but I always had a strong sense of self. Another thing that I absolutely love about myself is that I'm a doer and not a talker.
Mm-hmm.
That when it comes to building anything, any dream, if there is a will, there's a way, and I'm gonna find a way. And even if I fail, I still am the type of person that why don't we just try?
Mm-hmm.
And I love to inspire people to try too.
What is one thing you can love more about yourself?
My body and how it's changing. My shadow side when I get drunk and I'm just dancing and talking shit with my friends. Yeah, my shadow side. The side I don't like to show people, the side that's not on Instagram. you know. My shadow, which can be very needy and combative, kind of like I need to be the center of attention, you know, and sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that little girl that is constantly needing attention, that little, 7-year-old girl that wants a hug and wants a boyfriend, you know, that my shadow is very much what I am always on the path to loving more. Because most recently, I realized that I am just as much me and myself when I'm drunk out of my mind with my friends, talking gibberish and making a fool of myself. And I'm the same person when I am speaking and writing books and performing sound baths and healing. I am the same person. So integrating and loving both sides of myself, that's what we got to work on in this lifetime.
That's important. I'm gonna jot that down for self. What's one thing that you do, maybe not every day, but often, that you feel like keeps you in control?
And that varies, because another thing I'm working on is consistency when it comes to routine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a routine, but it changes. It varies. I meditate, I pray all the time. I read, I say my affirmations, but like, I think, ask the question again, because that was a good one.
What is one thing that you do often that makes you feel like you're in control, and in control of blank can be?
I write. So me writing a to-do list is like I'm in control, and I can jot this, I can get everything done. Because I'm a rapid brain creative, like I'm always, like right now I'm probably working on 5 different projects. And ultimately all of these projects are intertwined, but they're totally different mediums. I'm multidisciplinary artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm in control when I write everything down. I also feel like I'm in control when I leave my phone in the car and I don't have a phone for the day. I loved it. I love not having my phone. I only do it maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, but I feel like I'm in control there because I'm shutting the world out. It's just me. Last thing, I feel like I'm in control when it comes back to those boundaries. Standing flat-footed in my nose and being like, Veronica, I get it. I get it why you said no. But yeah, turning off that phone is a powerful thing. Not being on social media for a few days, it's powerful.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. You ran through these quicker than I thought. No, that's okay. You've mastered these spaces. Okay, so one question. What is your favorite, and this word, I don't know why I'm using favorite. What is your most common form of self-destruction?
Drinking. I love to drink. I'm actually doing my ancestry now, and it turns out my grandmother was not only it's like a family secret. She was not only a huge bishop in the South, one of the only women bishops.
Mm-hmm.
She has her own scholarship that's still going on to this day.
Mm-hmm.
She has her own church, her own street. But I believe she was an entrepreneur. She would help drug addicts and people who are just thrown into the world and didn't have anybody. So in that time, LGBT people in the community were just on the street, she would get them teach them how to make candy apples and like literally give them a job.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them how to sew and give them a job. So I take that on. But I also think she sold whiskey. And because of that, not because of that, like, I shade some of my ancestors, but I just like to party sometimes. But it's not even I like to party. This is the problem. I don't like to party around people. I be partying in my house,
Mm-hmm.
like drunk as hell. And then the next day I be like, damn, I can't do that no more, you know? Because I'm telling you, I can't hold my liquor. I don't smoke, you know? I can't. I'm too in tune. I be hearing shit and seeing shit, you know? Another thing is self-destructive is holding on to relationships and people and situations longer than they are supposed to be in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I am a loyal through and through type of girl, you know? And ultimately holding on to these situations, these people, these things, it's never good, you know, so.
Okay, last question. I'm trying to decide between these two that I have, which one would make more sense. What's one thing that you have struggled most to manifest in your life?
That's such an interesting question. Because of COVID, because of everything that's happening, I've had to really, really sit with myself and really think about what I see as success. What does success look like for me? And it used to be like 1 million followers, or following a book on the, you know, New York Times bestsellers list, an album that is not only touted, but it's one of those albums that I can just keep, I can keep touring with for years and years and years to come.
Mm-hmm.
A husband, a kid, in a house, you know. But I've really, really had to look at my motivations and really think to myself, what does success look like for you, Veronica? And that's drastically changed. And I got big dreams, you know, don't get me wrong, but I think some of that shit is validation. You need validation. And my purpose in life is to help people. That's why I go through the things I go through. That's why I have the gifts that I have. And so ultimately, that might not come with 1 million followers or, you know, whatever. That might look like a community organization or a full moon circle, which I do, or books, best-selling books like I have, or tours that I've gone on. You know, it might look like being a part of the Underground Museum, which I had. Like, success has just changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to change that, still have goals, but I had to change that in order to see myself as worthy of more.
Mm-hmm.
And worthy of being celebrated and worthy of the gifts that come to me. Because I am the type A alpha woman that needs straight A's and was student council president and vice president literally since I was like 7th grade, like concert master of my orchestra. Like, I'm very goal oriented. But you got to look at those goals and see what is for the ego and what is for my purpose. And I mean, you got to have some ego. You know, not all ego is bad, but some of it will drive you insane and have you looking in your life with these rose-colored glasses, not actually seeing the good that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, hell, I didn't catch COVID. I'm good. I really am doing great. I have my own space I'm like living in California. I'm single. I ain't got no kids. I'm not sick. Like, it's levels to this shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that was my last question. Thank you for playing this test game with me. Can I ask you how you felt?
Felt good to hear myself talk about things that I've written about, written music about, have conversations about, and I'm grateful for the thoughtful, because those are thoughtful questions.
Thank you. Do you have one question that you want to ask me? You can also pass on this part too.
What was your purpose of having this forum, to asking those specific questions? And what does vulnerability in a performance space mean to you? What was your goal of this?
That's a good question. So in the last year or two, I feel like, and obviously before then, but so much in the last year or two, I feel like social media, Instagram specifically, is the space where everyone comes to express themselves, even if it's something that used to be expressed just between friends or between families or in a support group or in therapy. Folks come to Instagram to share those things, but sometimes it can get overshadowed by a lot of performity and performance that's happening for likes, for what have you. I don't know what reasons it may be, but it starts to feel that way. And I think that leads to some folks feeling like when they do express themselves online, that their perspective is less valid because they get less likes or they get less retweets or they get less interaction and engagement. And I feel like it's breeding this sort of cycle or this like new sort of depression that I see happening a lot. And I just wanted to create a space where I can highlight that it's fine and it's normal to do these things, but if we're going to be doing them in a performative space, that we have to find a way to be able to do it in a genuine way. And I think that my thoughts about doing that were to surprise you with the questions. I didn't share them with anyone else. I didn't preface you with what it was going to be exactly. I gave you the rundown just before we started this, and I think that is where I feel like I can grab genuine reaction from. But that was my goal. This was the test. I'll ask everybody for feedback. Yeah, that was my intention.
Amazing. Because we need that now. We don't need nothing performative, hell. We need only vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the shift. So thank you.
Thank you. And you are going to lead us into some samples?
I am. I would invite everyone to, I'm going to invite everybody to lay down if they can lay down. I'm going to just play a 3-minute sound bath. A 3-minute sound bath for everyone. And this is dedicated to Breonna Taylor, the family of Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, the 2 trans women that were killed yesterday, the young man that was hung today, and every Black person that has ever walked this earth. May we find our power. May we eliminate anything that feels performative and fake and get to the root of the problem so we can pull it up by the root and finally reverse the curse of racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, and all the other leaves, so we can have a free world. Thank you guys so much. If I can leave you with anything, is that we have the power to change the world. No matter what the world looks like or how disempowered we might feel, we are the salt of the earth. We are the keepers and the holders of the sun. And when I say we, I say Black people, melanated people. Ashe.